So yes, there are accordance made my first pregnancy very hard. Only people who were ever polite to me since I've met my husband were my husband's grandmother, my husband's grandparents, and his parents, and their respective partners were the only people who have ever been completely respectable of my opinions and my privacy during my time being engaged to my husband and during my time being pregnant. I was pregnant with my first child. I had a baby shower, and my two elder sisters, who were not invited to my son's baby shower, showed up, being some of their family members with them. My birth mother also showed up at the baby shower, and I do not know why she did this. I did not even mention it until months later. But during this time, during my baby shower, my birth mother lunched at my mother-in-law. She just suddenly walked up to my mother-in-law and said something to her and then lunged at her. I was watching the whole thing. My mother-in-law had done nothing to provoke this crazy bitch. At all. My birth mother hates it when other people are nice to her kids. And she can't stand the fact that I have a mother-in-law. She cannot stand the fact that not is she no longer my mother, not even do I no longer have any respect for her. I also now have a mother-in-law whom I respect a lot. I openly respect my husband's family, and the family that I was born into could not fucking take it. And then one of my biological cousins, she says out loud to someone at my baby shower that my husband is not good enough for me. Well, I was pregnant with my husband's child at our baby shower. These people that I did not even invite to my baby shower showed up without permission, made a huge fucking scene. I didn't want to call the cops at my own baby shower to kick these people out because I didn't want anyone to end up hurting me or my husband or any of the people that were in attendance from my husband's side of the family, my husband's mother's friends. I had to let these people who had come in to me and my husband's baby shower without permission stay there, or end up calling the cops and embarrassing me and my husband by having to tell everyone that my biological family is so ghetto. I had to call the cops on them because they came somewhere where they weren't even invited to. I didn't want to end up calling the cops that day. I just wanted to have my baby shower and be happy. So I just let them stay there. And I figured, hey, explicitly, since I told them that they can't even come and they show up anyway, this is definitely something I can use against them later. And I did. So, unfortunately, I let it go over a period of time because I thought, no, this isn't the right time to use the evidence against them yet. This is not the right time to use 2 years of evidence against them yet. That time came by pretty quickly, though. Unfortunately, my son passed away. When my son was born, very stupidly, I even told my biological siblings that my son was born because I wanted to get revenge on them by telling them that they weren't allowed to meet my son. That's what the fuck they get for trying to be involved in my pregnancy and my marriage when I told them they couldn't be. I told them that I do not want to be associated with them anymore. They need to block me on social media and give me the privacy that I'm entitled to because I do not give a fuck if I'm biologically related to these people. They do not have the right to know me in this stage of my life. And they do not have the right to know my children, and they definitely don't have the right to associate with my husband and any of his family members. They especially don't have the right to tell my mother-in-law that I'm a liar and that I was never abused. Every single member of my biological family knows that the abuse happened. Every single member of my biological family was abused by their parents because it's a generational thing. They were lying to my mother-in-law, they were lying to my husband's grandma and saying that I was never abused just to protect their mother. And let me just remind you, these people are nobodies. They're not rich, they're not powerful, they're not connected, they're not even important. They're just horrible, abusive people with tarnished reputations who don't want people to find out what they've been doing to their own kids and family members. They don't want people to hate them even more after they find out the kind of things that they do to people, the way that they treat people in their own family, and that they get away with it because they're just like generally like, oh, we're just gonna let it go because it's our family members. You know, if something's wrong with that bitch, I don't know what it is, but I'm not gonna hold it against you for life. When I was pregnant with my first child, I stopped being like that. Because now not only do I have a husband to protect, I also have a child to protect. When my first child was born, I told my elder sisters that they were not allowed to meet my son. And before my son passed away, my eldest sister, the first sister who was ever born into the family, she spent every single day of my life as a mother criticizing me as a mother to my son. She called me a bad mother. Every day she bullied me on social media and told me that I was a bad mother because they said she wasn't allowed to meet my son. She made me upset, she made me cry, and I had to have my husband comfort me and told me to just ignore her and block her, and he said, no, I need to use this as evidence against her. So I'm not going to be blocking her. I want to see how far she can take this so I can screenshot it, save it, and use it against her in the future, because that's what I do. I don't block you. Up until recently, when my second child was born, my thing was not to block people. My thing was to collect a screenshot of everything they'd ever said to me so I could use it against them for the rest of my life. When they found out that I was doing this, they got pissed the fuck off. They hated me. They just hated how vengeful and angry I am. I don't care. That's what I do. That's my thing. Maybe you should have never said anything to me in the first place. And I wouldn't have it collected in a screenshot. That's your fault, not mine. So to this day, I can remember every disrespectful thing that everyone has ever said to me since I've been in a relationship with my husband. Every single disrespectful thing that anyone has ever said to me since I told them to respect my husband and his family, or cut us off because I am going no contact with you people. I remember most of it. I keep records. I have kept records ever since 2020 just so I could bring it up to use against these people. Because it's very important, when people treat you with disrespect, it's very important to keep records of what they do. Videos, screenshots, diaries, keep records of everything that somebody does to abuse you, so you can use it against them for the rest of your life. I highly encourage that. But anyways, in 2022, my son, in the summer of 2022, my son unfortunately passed away. And the first thing that my biological family members did was to be nosy and critical and blame me and my husband for our son passing away. At my son's funeral, my birth mother showed up with her family members. My younger sibling made a vlog of it. He made a vlog of my son's funeral. Like, how?